In her early teens, perhaps because she wanted to earn money to journey to America, she left the village to work, most likely in the burgeoning garment industry in a nearby town. Then, at the age of 15, overhearing her parents and a matchmaker planning to marry her off to the butcher's son, she pleaded with her father not to force her to do this terrible thing, as she saw it. Instead, she and a sister, most likely a cousin, joined the throngs of Russian Jews streaming westward. Claiming she was 21, with $24 in her pocket and the address of another sister in Chicago, Bathsheba boarded the SS Rotterdam, bound for New York. 12 days later, in December 1905, after a voyage filled with the tumult of the steerage throngs, she disembarked at Ellis Island. Abramowitz had fled an arranged marriage, but violence drove other Jews across the sea. Pogromniks burned one young girl's family alive while she was in the outhouse, leaving the devastated 15-year-old to cross Europe alone, on foot, to catch a boat bound for America. While waves of pogroms periodically erupted, the struggle to earn a decent living, made ever more hopeless by a welter of anti-Semitic restrictions and limitations, propelled most of the Jewish emigrants to pack up and leave. Despite the myth enshrined in Jewish memory that tradition ruled the old world, it was very much a world in transition. The writer Israel Joshua Singer, one of the millions of Jewish immigrants to America, recalled seeing his pious mother, Bathsheba, weeping in their Polish village of Leoncin as she read the 18th century The Rod of Chastisement, a book detailing the terrible fates awaiting sinners. It told of mothers who, having neglected to shield their bosoms while nursing, had their breasts impaled on fiery hooks in hell. But the winds of change that brought Abramowitz to read Karl Marx and refuse the arranged match testify to the impact of modern ideas and the transformations underway. Consequently, new kinds of Jewesses, not just a new kind of Jewess, were making their way to America in the decades after 1880. Unlike some immigrant groups, most Jews came to America to stay. Poverty propelled fathers to set off on their own. Rose Pines, later Cohen, was just a toddler when her father, to avoid the Tsar's draft, left Vilkomir in Lithuania, then part of the Russian Empire, and sailed for America in 1913. He left his wife on her own, to run the shoe store and to raise their 3 children under the age of 3. Heading to Baltimore, where his wife had 2 sisters, he expected soon to bring over his family. Decades later, children like his remembered their hungry, bitter childhoods without a father or a father's income. Relatives tried to help, but they had their own large families. Daughters needed dowries, and sons needed bribes to escape military service. Children left school to learn a trade. Sons were apprenticed to cobblers and tailors, daughters to dressmakers and milliners. When a distraught wife no longer had money for wood to heat the stove, after the creditors had taken everything she owned, and after she had borrowed all her relatives would lend, she set off to the charities, tears streaming down her cheeks. They turned to tears of joy the day ship's tickets for America arrived. Now the wife had to sell whatever belongings remained, to liquidate a business if she had one, and to find an agent to help her, with squabbling children in tow, steal across the border. Acquiring passports meant navigating a government minefield that most immigrants wisely shunned. She would guard over her brood as they journeyed on foot, by cart, or by train, see them through sundry inspections, propel them up the gangway, and watch over them amid steerage's disorder and seasickness, until, at last, the big woman with the spikes on her head came into view. Then she still had to overcome the hurdle of passing U.S. immigration inspection. Failure would mean returning across the sea. A woman traveling alone, as mentioned, faced another danger.